My beloved people of YouTube, hello and welcome to Skyshine's Bedlam, a game that I was really excited about. I was really waiting for it to come out this year because it sounded amazing on paper and it also looked amazing on screen. I'm talking about its art, which you can probably see and appreciate if you have a similar taste to mine. But when it did finally come out, which was like 2 weeks ago, I couldn't really manage to make a video earlier. It was somewhat and is still somewhat disappointing. So this is a video of about my thoughts on the game and on the subject matter. So the story is very familiar. A couple of guys from the actual AAA big money stuff come to become indies, and they do a Kickstarter campaign. And a successful Kickstarter campaign make about, I think it was $166,000. And after a year goes by, they deliver the game. It was meant to be a mixture of FTL, XCOM, and I think according to their description, was it Banner Saga? It's a lot of FTL and a little bit of maybe XCOM. Don't really see much Banner Saga here myself. But yeah, it's a very interesting failure. So spoilers, I didn't really enjoy the game. I was quite saddened that I didn't, because it looks amazing and it sounds pretty cool as well, and even the writing's okay, but the gameplay isn't really there. So let's start with what this game actually is. If you ever played FTL, and I assume most people who play video games by now have played or at least know about FTL, this is FTL in that sense. So I'm going to start a new run. I can't actually change the volume, so hopefully I did okay in the editing, because this is the option screen. Like, that is it. You can turn it on or off or on, but there's not a single slider in the entire menu. Anyway, we're just gonna go to. I'm not gonna run the intro. You probably can see it on the YouTube or whatever if you want to see the intro of the thing. Like, it's just kind of slides and the guy talking in a coarse voice about the future. So new run. And it's a roguelike, so because FTL is a roguelike, and you select a dozer. I only have one. Instead of your ship, you have a dozer, and it's essentially the same thing. It's a giant vehicle, and you have crew. You have crew that fights. You have crew that is kind of in there, I guess, servicing or maintaining the ship. You are playing as the legendary mechanic, I think, or engineer or some guy. This guy here. This is you. You never see him in the gameplay, so you're not really actually a person in the game. And the dozer comes with weapons and equalizers, and you can acquire more as you go around the wasteland, when wasteland is your map. So there's nothing else you can choose here, though I can probably use this map. Actually, you know what? Let's just start. I'll show you the map so you get an idea of what it's like if you do not have the idea as of yet. So let's go normal difficulty, because I usually just try to, when I'm reviewing games, I'm trying to form my opinion of them. I play them on a medium difficulty, normal difficulty, because I feel like usually most of the time that's like the intended average, right? So easy is pretty easy. Last time I tried, but there have been a lot of patches, so it could be different now, and I'll get to that in a moment. So we're gonna start a normal difficulty. Bone Shaker is the name of the dozer, which I think you can't change. So this is our map. We start in Byzantine, so this is like kind of, I guess, Earth-ish, future dystopian. Couple of apocalypses later, it's like more than one. There's a giant technological wonder, Byzantine. It's like a giant city, but there's around it, though it's kind of unclear what's here. It's never mentioned, strangely. Sort of on south of it, I guess, if the map is positioned correctly, there's the wastelands, the Badlands, and your mission is to go exploring and find out if the Aztec city, which is kind of already marked on the map, but you're trying to figure out, is it really there? Because the legend has it that there's the Aztec city, which is amazing and essentially a paradise. So you're traveling there, even though you, again, know where it is, so kind of a spoiler there. And you take your routes through the areas. These areas belong to different factions. There's 4 factions in the game. There's the rogue AI, so essentially robots. There's cyborgs, which is kind of humans and sort of robots. There's mutants, which is mutants. There's marauders, which is essentially humans. And you have four resources to manage. You have crude, or whatever, petrol, gasoline, oil, and you have meat. And these are essentially the same thing, really, because you spend both as you travel. So they are your fuel. This is fuel for people. This is fuel for your dozer. It's the same thing. There's really no difference. They could have. I don't know why they did it separately. I guess because like they can to have more variety in the missions, but they are really, in terms of the game mechanics, the exactly same thing. Then you have people, which you're carrying, and if they all die, the mission is over. But also, if you run out of your fuel or your meat, and then you get a chance to maybe get some of it. There's you play kind of a Russian roulette for some reason. But if you don't, then you die as well. So either of these runs out, you die. People you can also collect sometimes, but you don't spend them unless there's like an event. These are spent as you travel. As the time goes by, the sun signifies how many days you've spent. And the energy is used, or whatever they're called, like power cells, are used for either upgrades, or it's the same resource you use on the battlefield to gain advantage. So you can either, in the battlefield, you can either use your weapons. Currently you have only one, which is you kind of dump alcohol on your opponents and they get drunk and they fight each other, which makes a lot of sense. And then you have battlefield equalizers. So this is healing, and this is screen. So if you are using the screen, so you take less damage essentially, and you get interesting ones afterwards, and you get some cargo, which is essentially plot items. And I have not really been able to use any plot items in the 10 hours that I played this game. I've collected many different ones and never really been able to use them. So I can't really, either I'm doing something wrong, or I didn't figure out, or I didn't just I was unlucky and didn't really get to use any of them. I don't think I've ever used, not a single one, I believe, in about 10 hours of playing this. So that's your dozer. Then you have the people. You have 4 classes of warriors, or whatever, soldiers. You have deadies, essentially snipers, frontliners, so melee units. You have gunslingers, which are like medium range, medium strength, medium health people. And then trenchers, who are kind of above gunslingers. They are the shotgun. So this is like revolver, shotgun, kind of similar mid-range ranged units, sort of midway between no ranged units, no melee guys and snipers, essentially. You'll get to see them in a second. You can change the names and call them whatever you want. There, we're gonna name him whatever, which is kind of similar to XCOM, but that's where the similarities really end in terms of customization, because there is no customization of units, and they look, especially when you begin, they look extremely boring, and like your guys look like the bad guys, which could be kind of funny and ironic in certain contexts, but not in this one. It's not really funny or ironic. It just looks a bit crap. Even though I have to say the visual part of the game, like the art of the game, is its best and strongest part. So I think the design of the art design in general is really, really on a high level, and sound is pretty appropriate as well. The music and the sound effects, the animation is really good. And where it does really, and even writing is okay, but where it does really suffer is its gameplay mechanics. So which is going to be next stage after we talk about. Well, actually, we're kind of there already. So upgrades. You can upgrade the dozer. There's 4 things you can upgrade. So you can upgrade your bar research, which means spend less meat. Barracks, which is heal faster. Engineering, which is spend less crude, and then armory, which is spend less power cells on your battlefield, either equalizers or weapons. So probably the good thing to do in the very beginning is to upgrade your crude, because you start using it immediately, and it does run out pretty quickly if you don't have the upgrades. So I often, when I've played probably like 5-6 times, is I go usually and just upgrade it fully. So now we only spend 22 a day, and because we are all it's a good thing to do because you're already starting to move. So it's nice to have that already accomplished. So it seems like we're going to be fighting mutants in the very beginning. So we're going to choose one of the 4 destinations. Let's go here, for example. You can immediately see that we're going to spend 1 day to get there, 22 crude and 20 meat. This is after the upgrade, so before that it would have been, I think, 34 or something like that. So it does add up, so it's pretty cool to, good thing to do to upgrade it. You can also zoom in. Whoa. Okay, so let's get rid of this as well. And let's go there. As you travel, the alert level rises, or whatever that is called. And there's text displayed very often, so there isn't really any dialogue per se in terms of like any voiceover, really. You just read out what's happening. So here we're just leaving the city, Byzantine. The doors open, we get out. First time, I think you have to go like a specific location. So after you reach a specific location, first you travel there, and you'll now see the alert level rising, whatever it's called. And we have illness among our passenger population. Number of passengers have begun exhibiting an alarming condition that rapidly covers their bodies, strange purple fungus, until they're almost completely immobilized. We can, so again, FTL style decisions. We can either eject the passenger or try to quarantine I'm just going to eject the passenger. I don't want to deal with this. So the meat so we lost meat as a result, I think, and some passengers, which is fine. Doesn't really change anything. So now that we arrived at an actual location, because this is like a border crossing between the regions, we can go on little adventures. So these are the points of interest, right? Or we can ignore them and keep going. Usually a good idea to go to points of interest, because those are your quests, essentially. That's where you get stuff. Most of the stuff is happening on your little adventures here. So let's pick one at random and go there, because obviously what I want to show you very much indeed is a battle and how that works. As the crew cautiously wanders between toxic slag pools, they reach a rise overlooking some kind of bizarre lodge. A number of mutants are seen heading towards the structure, which seems alive. Okay, I don't think I have this encounter before, so let's attack the mutants instead of leaving. Yeah, they have all like their parlance, kind of. They talk strange, all of them. So that enough care was taken in terms of writing to actually achieve this, which is nice. So I'm just gonna leave all like each class, one person from each class. This guy, by the way, looks extremely like a Kruger from Archer. I don't know if that is intentional or not. And I think some of them actually could be the Kickstarter backers, which is a possibility, because they had a tier for that. So, so before the battle, like you saw, you choose which people you take. If you take one less, so currently there's only 4 people you can take. You can take one less guy. That means that you get double meat and double crude from this mission. So these are our enemies. It's the first fight. There's only 2 of them. This is cover. These things, they're like little mushroom things. This is a giant crab anus here, and other crab-like structures. These are the pickups. Though some of them are booby-trapped, so if you do pick them up, you probably will take damage. And yeah, that's pretty much it. You have to kill the enemies. If you do not kill them for a long time, so there's no death for some time, I think it has to be their death, not your death, then the blitzometer goes up and they get an extra turn. So it's like to discourage you to be like sandbagging for a long time. Now we took 1 person of each class, and notice they're just gray. And I understand they're rookies or whatever, but this is kind of... I just found this strange. They look like generic bad guys from some cheap, I don't know, 80s sci-fi. So, this is what is it, Deadeye or whatever, sniper. So, they can't move very much, but their attack is 5. This guy has more health, but attack is 4 because it's a shotgun, or this girl. And then this lady has only 2 attack, but 10 health because they are the frontliner. And this is the midway unit, which is 3 attack and 5 health, but they can also counterattack if they're getting attacked. So if they get shot, they'll return fire within range and do 1 damage, which is kind of pointless until you upgrade them to veteran status. And the way the combat works, and we're finally getting to like the meat of this, is... you have 2 actions. These little green things to signify those. And that's it. So, and it doesn't matter what actions who and which of your unit takes it. For example, I could take this unit and make them move here. That's one action gone. And then I can take a different unit and have them move here. And that's my turn, and then the enemy turns. Sometimes, this is very strange, they actually pick up the items. I think it's a bug, to be honest, but for some reason they do that. And because this is mutant faction, they start low health and their health grows. It's like their thing as you're fighting them. It's a very interesting, or rather not very often used, way of dealing with combat or turn-based combat. It's kind of similar, sort of, I guess this is the similarity with the Banner Saga that they were claiming. But in Banner Saga there's the priority thing, so you can't choose which unit goes next. They have initiative, and highest initiative goes first, and then the other initiative, etc., etc. While here it's up to you. And you probably noticed that the deployment is random, so you can't really decide where you exactly deploy the people you deploy. And the death rate of your crew is quite high. It's probably not going to be too bad here because there's only 2 enemies, and we can, more or less get away safely from, without dying. What we're going to probably do here is I'm going to move this guy to get the batteries. So we got 6 batteries, and then I'm going to move the sniper up a little bit. Actually, that could be dangerous. So their health grew again. I was hoping I could be able to attack them, but probably that's not going to happen. That guy does 5 damage, so they could kind of easily kill me now. I'm going to probably go ahead and attack with the frontliner, though I may regret this. Oh, and your weapons are here. If you use weapons, it's quite expensive, so I can't really use it right now. You use one of your turns, and then this is not so you just the free usage of either healing in this case or your defense shield, which affects all your units. So for example, I go up here, this is going to be 1 turn, and then attack them for 2 damage, but then now they have 3 health and they're going to shoot the hell out of me. I can try and keep attacking them, but probably it's not going to end very well for me. So instead I'm going to come up here, for example, and kill this guy, because that does 5 damage. Then this guy's probably going to kill my sniper. Oh no, they decided not to do that. That's interesting. I need to hide this guy now, I think. Probably that's a good idea, because otherwise he's going to die. Or I could attack the enemy there, but if they return fire, I'm dead because I only have 3 health. But so that's what I'm saying. Like, it's often, very often, there's no way to not lose all of your units. We can try, for example, to just withdraw with everybody. That may work. That was a weird frame rate drop there. But then his health keeps going up, which is not very good for us. So he goes through that thing but doesn't actually die from it, which is interesting, to say the least. Even though that guy actually picked it up. I think this may be a bad idea, like what we're doing here. Okay, so I can probably go up here and then shoot this guy with the shotgun. So he's half health now, but his health is going to keep growing. And because we didn't kill anyone, now he can shoot us 5 times, I think. Oh, 3 times. Oh no, he moved once and then he shot us twice, so that's 3 actions. But he still has 5 health. Alright, well, that's fun and games. Oh no, I can kill him now with the sniper and actually not lose anyone. So it is possible, but this is the first fight. So it is the easiest thing you'll encounter, at least on this difficulty. And you get a little bit of crude. We also picked up something, I think we picked up batteries. Got extra batteries just for winning, and some meat for winning as well. And that's your encounter. Not all encounters are fights, so maybe if we go... I can show you some of the other stuff. The alarm level rises very quickly. Vicious Bedlam, Omnivore, blah blah blah, oversized creature with several precise strikes over spear. Approach the mutant. Oh yeah, so sometimes you can invite people and they will actually just join us, and so she's going to be one of our frontliners. There she is. She changed her clothing apparently to match our gray bullshit tones of the people that we already employ. So that's one of the types of the missions. Then another one would be where you find an item. or find an upgrade, for example. So let's see if we can get something like that. Okay, so this is mutants attacking. I'm gonna probably cut this bit out because we already fought the mutants, so there isn't really gonna be anything very interesting. One thing I can note is that these people are now wounded, the two guys, and so they're gonna be healing for some time. So we have to probably let them have a little break and get other guys to fight the mutants instead of them. Okay, so here is one of the things where you find something to investigate and then investigate, and I think I can't really actually get in there because I don't have... Yeah, so this is where you need a specific item to actually get that thing, and so I can't really get that thing because I don't have the specific item. Every time you go from to another level, to another alarm level or whatever this is, you get to fight an elite soldier, and then if you defeat them, they join you. So for example, I think if I go here now, I should, yeah, so the low alarm has been reached, or whatever that is called. I forgot what the proper name for that is. And we're fighting more mutants. Oh, they actually boarded our thing, so when you fight, it's like a base defense in XCOM sort of, but when you're doing that, you can't really use your weapons because you're inside the ship, so you can't really fire the weapons, but you can still use the equalizers if you wanted to. So in this case, you'll be fighting inside the ship, like so, but it's again just two guys because it's just low-level threat. Oh, maybe it's the threat level, that's what it's called actually. Okay, and now one of our guys upgraded to veteran status. I can't really show it to you because, well, I can show him here. So there you go. So they changed their uniform to white with red stripes, and their health goes from... Let's get another sniper to compare. So instead of 3 health, they will have 5 health. Instead of 5 damage, they'll do 7 damage. And every time they reach another level, which is, I think, another... So every 5 kills, they'll do +1 damage. So that goes pretty high, and then you really need this, even to have like a couple of veteran units and maybe an elite by the time you go to like a mid-game, because otherwise you'll just lose. It gets harder and harder with every threat level that you reach. The elite hasn't really revealed themselves, but I think if we just travel one more time, they should appear, because it feels like they should have appeared already, but they didn't, which is strange. Okay, I'll see you when I find the elite. Okay, so here it is. This is the elite, and we can fight them. I've been skipping a lot of the stuff, obviously, just to demonstrate stuff to you. So this is another like crucial mechanic, so that's why I want to show you how that works. We have quite a lot of energy, so for example, at this point, we would probably go in and like upgrade the meat, whatever, a little bit, and maybe upgrade the healing rate a little bit, and then leave some so I can show you the way the weapons or the equalizers work in the battle, since you haven't done that yet. So let's go and fight this elite guy, and again, if we defeat them, they'll fight with us. So this is a gunslinger, and his name is Abe, I think. So he's pretty decent. It's good to have him on your side. So do we have anyone who's killed someone before? It's Kruger, isn't it? And this guy. Alright, take Kruger. So you see, if you have take 3, then you get double meat and double crude, which is we're not going to do because we actually want to win this mission. So we are going to go and try to kill this guy. Hopefully we'll be successful in that. He does have a retinue, so I'm not going to go through the entire battle. I'm going to again quit it. So the elites take 4 times the space, and they're pretty tough. So when you get him, he's going to be just like you see him now. He's going to have 11 health and 7 damage, and he's going to behave in this way again. There's gonna be his movement, and there's gonna be his range. But with you, if he does kill people, he will be leveling up like your other units. And you can see now here we have this veteran unit with us. Again, which is something you want to achieve in the game. Otherwise, you just lose because the gray ones aren't really that good. So I'll see you after I'm done with this fight, and then I'll probably talk about the stuff that the sort of summarize what the mechanics that we've gone through. Talk about a little bit about the end game and the replayability of this game in general, and I think the problems that the general mechanic has. Oh, by the way, for example, I haven't used the equalizer yet, so you can see here that we killed this guy and killed 2 others. We have 3 to defeat. We lost one of them. One of our guys is dead over there, but our veteran sniper is at health 2, so for example, one thing we can do for him is to raise the health, so use the equalizer thing. And everyone who is injured gets 3 health, apparently. Is it 3 health? Oh, that's been changed. It used to be 2 health before. Okay, so there you go. So this is now at full health and is ready to fight. And again, like I said before, I'll see you after this fight is over. Okay, so we got our first elite, and usually you probably get like maybe 4 or 5 of them throughout the game as you go past. But this could be different now because I completed the first part of the game. So there's like 2 endings. You can do like finish the game, but then you can also do what they call double down. So let's talk about that first then. So after you reach the Aztec City, and so obviously this is like a bunch of spoilers, in case you don't want to hear that, please stop watching the video now, and thanks for stopping by. I'll see you later. If you do go to reach the Aztec City, then you have the option of either ascending and going to some kind of other dimension heaven city place with your crew, or you can double down and try to reach Byzantine and tell everyone that this thing is real, Aztec City is real, get everyone from Byzantine to Aztec City so that everyone goes away, sort of, I think. Because I've never actually done that, because another part of that double down is that you have to fight King Viscera. King Viscera is the king of Badlands. So these elites that appear, those are the people Viscera sends after you when he hears that you're going around doing good things in the Badlands. And obviously he doesn't want that because he's a bad guy, so he wants bad things to happen in Badlands because bad. So you fight King Viscera, and I think there's like 3 forms that he assumes. I managed to defeat 1, and the second one killed me, and I didn't really care to continue because it's the same every time. It's kind of the same fight over and over again. And this is one of the this stems from one of the failings of the game, because when you're explaining XCOM to someone, maybe many of you have probably done this, and like someone who doesn't play video games, for example, and they ask like, what is it that you're playing? And something I've said before as well is like, oh, it's like chess but with guns. And this is like a very cliche, popular way, I guess, to describe it. This is a lot closer to chess with guns than XCOM, this game. You saw that the grid, there's like always a square grid, or square, I think it's square, I haven't actually counted, but it looks like a square, so or maybe close to a square, like a rectangle, which is close to a square. So, and it's always the same thing. Sometimes, obviously, there's the cover, and its cover is random, and the meld-like pickups that you can pick up during the fight are kind of randomized. But that's it. And there's 4 kind of units. The enemy has 4 kind of units as well, except for like King Viscera, who is... Oh no, King Viscera is also changing into different kinds of units because of each fight he's like either melee or ranged or something like I believe. I think that's how it works. Or maybe he's always melee. But anyway, most of your enemies, besides the main boss, are also the same classes that you have. Chess has more classes than this video game, which potentially could have, many varieties, because you can just put it in. It's not, I know, obviously more art, etc. required, but there isn't a limit because it's digital, right? You can have more than 1 class, more than 4 classes, more than any amount of weapons, etc. But yes, probably for, budget, financial reasons, they only have those 4. And it gets repetitive and kind of really same very quickly. And if you compare it to chess, again, chess has more variety in terms of like the movement of the units. In Bedlam, they are limited to how far they can go, and then ranged or not ranged, and how big is the range and damage. In chess, they you have units that will go only sideways. You have units that never go sideways. You have unit that goes only 1 tile at a time, like the pawn does, etc. There's like 2 more types of units, but it's still more kinds than in a contemporary video game we are looking at right now, and that combined with the deterministic nature of the battles is something that I think doesn't really make sense. So again, the main thing about XCOM, the thing that people probably love, I assume, one is customization, which here again is absent. It's apart from like giving the name. We named someone, didn't we? We named someone like whatever. Where is she? See, there you go. She's named whatever now. But that's it. With the Fire Access XCOM, you can also customize your units and like make them pink or whatever. And then so they're you can recognize them easily on the battlefield. You grow attached to your like pink mech unit, etc. But more than that, it's the probability based and not deterministic combat, where even a 99% shot can miss, and some people reported that 100% shots miss as well. Well, here that's absent, so if you're shooting someone, it lands, and if you're not, and you know, you're not shooting, obviously it doesn't land. But that combined with the randomness in a different area, which is how your units are deployed and what kind of enemies you get, for some reason creates a very strange kind of gameplay where you don't really feel in control. Or if you do feel in control, you kind of doing the same thing over again and kind of using the same formula over again. Because that amazing moment of XCOM is, you know, when you have the 2% chance of hitting something or someone, and the entire mission hinges on that. And then you do that, and you feel like ecstatic. You feel like celebrating, like opening a champagne because you thought you lost everything, and the mission was over, and the campaign maybe was lost. But then you landed a 2% shot, and then you're now it's the tables have turned. While here that doesn't happen at all. But where randomness actually exists is in like who is the main species of this region, who is what kind of units are you gonna see as your enemies on the battlefield, etc. And that isn't really enough, I think, to keep like replaying this game. And that's one aspect. That second one is the difficulty level. So even now, I think we lost. And I've done like 4 fights. We got these 2 guys, and we lost a person already. And I think we've done maybe 2-3 encounters or something like that. This only gets worse, and this gets like much, much worse. It's actually quite difficult in this final build. This patch that I'm playing, which is like I think version 1.5 or whatever they released about a week ago. And it's kind of baffling why they're really doing that, because a lot of people have been complaining about the difficulty of the game since day one. And this is the reason why it, I think, in many ways has the low score it has on Steam, and it has the low score it received from the reviewers. And it's a somewhat rare case where they actually agree with each other. So the journalists and the players kind of reached similar conclusions in terms of how good this game is. And even though people have been asking for them to lower the difficulty, the line of the developers being that, oh well, this game has to be difficult. We want it to be difficult. It's not an easy game. And then there is an easy mode, as you saw in the. If we go to the main menu, it saves automatically after you moved, I think, but maybe not after the battle. And then you can only resume one game, kind of like FTL again. But what was I talking about? I was talking about the difficulty level. So if I were to start a new run, by the way, as soon as you press the new run, and then if you even quit out of it, into the main menu, your game's gone. Your previous game gone. So you can't, that thing that we're just playing, you can't go back to that. So if you start a new run, obviously you can go to easy. But with the easy, you can't do the full thing where you return. At least in the version I played, you couldn't do that. And I keep stressing this version thing because they've changed so much from patch to patch that I feel like they either didn't have the plan or they didn't test it with like actual players at all. So some fundamental things got changed since the game came out like 3 weeks ago. Or 2 weeks ago, maybe 3 weeks ago. 2 weeks ago? I think it's 2 weeks ago. And things like how many people can you take on a mission, which is like really the core of your gameplay. If that's something up to like discussion by the time the game is already released, there must have been problems somewhere, and you're kind of scrambling to solve this issue. Another thing that changed was like when the blitz is triggered, so all like gameplay stuff. And what triggers it, and what happens, I think, when it's triggered. They changed and some of the things they made easier. Like Blitz was kind of toned down, and it's easier to now. It doesn't kill you as much as before. But some of the things they made more difficult. For example, the dozer weapons now actually, when you use them, as I mentioned already in the video, they use an action point, and previously they didn't used to do that. So that kind of stuff, you can go to the the patch notes and see for yourself. But it is like something you wouldn't expect from a turn-based game, where after it came out, like so many things are now different than intended, I guess, or maybe they were not intended. And I was wondering, like, I don't remember really encountering something like this in other games where you play it and then you come back after a patch, after it's fully released. This is not an early access game. After it's fully released, and then you find it to be very different or very quite difficult. One of the things that actually happened similar was in the Darkest Dungeon. They added the corpse system, where the corpses like stay there unless you kill them with bleed, and they changed the game a lot and make it, in my opinion, and there's like two factions now who play that game, and one of them is like me thinking that it's made the game more boring and broke the flow, etc. So, but it is in early access, A, and B, after that people complained, they introduced the thing where like, oh, it's optional, so if you don't like it and want to play it like you used to, disable it. While here, this game has hardly any options, to be honest, because you saw the options menu here. It's essentially barren. There, you want full screen, language, which you can't pick, so it's not really there. You can quit the game, or you can toggle the sound off, or you can resume. So that kind of continues into the options available in the game itself. But yeah, so coming back to the thing, this is a full release. A beautiful looking full release game that goes through so many changes probably signifies at least that it hasn't been tested very well or much at all. Maybe they rushed it for some reason. I don't know, because it took like a year after the Kickstarter for this thing to come out, so that could be one of the reasons. Another thing I was also looking into is like, okay, so these guys are the people who make this game are, not the first time video game developers. They've done stuff before. So let's, check out what other games and what influences may have, or what bias they may have, as everyone is biased by what they've made before. Interestingly enough, there's only one guy on the team who was actually responsible for programming / gameplay. So they don't really have like a game designer, or maybe there is no role, maybe they all take part in the design. But everyone else is an artist. So visual artist, animator, sound, music, etc. And then the one guy who is responsible for the gameplay, and which I would assume also means the mechanics of the game, which is something that everyone has problems with, or most people have problems with. There are happy customers. They're not just unhappy customers. But 57% approval rating on Steam is pretty bad. He's only done pinball games, like actual pinball arcade games, and sports arcade games, like in the arcade, not like arcadey, but like the stuff you play in the arcade, actual physical place. So it's a very, very different genre for them, at least for the guy who's responsible for the gameplay. Maybe the artists have done something similar, because again, like zero complaints about the artist. This looks really cool. I like the visual look of this game. Visual look is okay. That's great. I like the look of the game. But yeah, there's a lot of stuff to be desired when it comes to the mechanic, and I probably didn't even mention most of it, because this video has been going on for a very, very long time. So in short, repetitive combat, punishing, very difficult, it's not really justified difficult, but kind of unjustified difficult combat. After I got as far as I got to the second fight with the guy, the King Viscera, didn't really feel like playing this again. It doesn't feel like FTL in the sense that, oh, okay, what if I've done something different? It could have been different, because every time I do something different, it feels exactly the same, even though the text appearing on the screen may be saying one thing or another. So, can't really recommend. Buy at your own risk. It may change, because they've been implementing a lot of patches, a lot of changes, and doing a lot of patching, so it may change and become something that is playable. I doubt it, because I don't think they have experience with turn-based games, or even, I don't know, love for them, maybe. This is a big, obviously, kind of guess here, but it feels quite strange. It plays quite strange, and in some ways it feels like they're trying to capitalize on the fact that XCOM and FTL are popular games. So if you make something that is a mixture of them, it must be successful, right? And the answer is that it not necessarily so. So anyway, the giant speech that I was apparently delivering is over. Thank you very much for watching the video. Hope you enjoyed it. If you did so, please consider supporting it any way you can. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.